so we can get started. Pulling up the agenda on my computer here.
So how's this gonna work? Is Caitlin gonna take over the meeting or are we not ready yet for that?
Yeah, I won't throw to the wolves today.
Next time,
But yeah,
yes, but.
next one, yeah, and, another thing is. I mean, we'll sort it, it'll be a work in progress, I think, because we don't officially have like a, of the advisory board, we don't have a chair. And also each town has not, to my knowledge, I think each town will need to officially at a Board of Health meeting, appoint their representatives to this board. So we kind of have the same people who have been attending on behalf of each town, all along, but now that the IMA is, we have 3 of the 5 of the 6 signatures. Montgomery, I talked to them last week, it's on their agenda for their next board meeting and they'll be signing it. And I have to find out what the status of Tolland is. And then Southwick hasn't signed, but I'm just waiting to do them last, so to keep things simple, so. So the state has said at three signatures, at half the signatures is when the IMA becomes legally binding, which is why we needed a quorum today. So thank you all for attending. And then as far as like our routine governance, I think, we'll kind of do it kind of how we've been doing it, where I'll kind of run the meeting. And then possibly at our next meeting, hopefully we'll have everyone here. And Kayleen will kind of be taking over for the work that I've been doing for the grant. And then the members may want to decide on who is the chair of the advisory board. I think that is how that works. I'll have to do a little research on that and, make sure we're doing things properly. And then I mentioned it before the meeting, but I also, regarding Montgomery's attendance, I am also their health agent, but have been advised not to represent them, especially while I was in the dual role of the Southwick Health Director and Shared Service Coordinator. But I put in a request to the Ethics Commission and just to find out if, now that have Kayleen hired, Sue is the primary representative for Southwick. There's another Southwick Board of Health member that is willing to be the backup. So if I wasn't on the board for Southwick, even though I happen to also be the Southwick Health Director, could I legally represent Montgomery on the board? I had a conversation with them last week, with their Board of Health chair to say, I'm hoping this works out, but if not, you guys really need to talk amongst yourselves and figure out who can be your representative, because it's a small margin for whether we have a quorum or not, whether we can have a meeting or not. So it's important to be in attendance, so. So hopefully we'll get some answers there and be able to.
Southwick, or you spoke to Montgomery?
I spoke to Montgomery.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're gonna, if I can't do it, hopefully I'll get an answer soon. If I can't do it, they're gonna figure out who can. Their Board of Health chair, he works well, like in the field and construction, so he's can't really even like call and have it in the background. So I think one of the other board members could do it, or another town employee, like similar to Tolland has used someone that works in the office Margaret to attend their meetings. So I'm sure there's someone like that in Montgomery that they might be able to use. And if we need to, we can always look at our meeting times. We've looked at that before and decided to stick with this time. But that's always an option, to look at different times. And then also we've been meeting, inadvertently, the past two meetings, we've canceled every other, so. So maybe, probably not today, maybe when we have kind of a fuller group, or we can. Kind of try to coordinate offline and see what works for people, but, it might be time to consider saying, let's meet every other month. Instead of every month, now that we've got, we checked off a lot of those big things we were working on. We've, hired Mary Ann, we hired Kayleen. And those were kind of the things that was like, all right, we need to make this vote, make this motion so we can get this position filled. So I think hopefully moving forward, won't have as much urgency with certain things, so we can afford to, meet every other month. Which is a little less burden on people, so, so for the towns that have struggled, and I'm, you guys are taking time out of your days, so. So it might be a little bit easier for everyone if it wasn't every month, so. But I think that should be a fuller conversation with hopefully more, more of the group, and once we officially know who are the representatives for each town, so. So we'll send that out in an email, but, I might have sent it already, I don't remember, but. If you can, at your next Board of Health meeting, appoint your primary and your backup representative to the advisory board for the Western Hampden County Public Health District. And it's appointed by the Board of Health. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Board of Health member. So Wayne, like, you're the primary, Crystal's the backup. And then I got some conflicting information on, Crystal also has a dual role. Got some conflicting information from the ethics board on that. But, with us small towns, I don't know how we get around that. I know the ethics board, they're more Boston focused and all that, but, we have small towns, not a lot of employees. Now, we don't have big health departments where there's, 10 different options for people to be our representatives, so. So hopefully that will work. But. So anyway. Financial report, we're doing pretty good with our spending. I think, at last I went through it, I think we were gonna spend about, like 185, 190. Maybe with a few last minute purchases, we can get a little closer, but, so we'll be giving back just over 100,000 probably, to DPH, so. Considering all the time we had, positions that weren't filled this year, I think that's a pretty good result. We met with, our program coordinator from DPH, and she was happy with our progress and, our spending. And I think there were some groups that didn't even spend 20% of their funds, so. So we did pretty good, and next year with, we're fully staffed. And with making Kayleen's position full-time, we're more heavy on salary than we are on operations, so. I don't think we'll have any issues spending, the majority, if not all of our funds next year, so, which the state will be happy with. So
Should our three members introduce themselves to Kaylee?
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. That I got carried away talking. So yeah, I would officially like to welcome Kayleen. She's at the beginning of her second week here. And so far so good. She's done a lot of good work already, and she'll talk about that during the meeting, but yeah, so welcome Kayleen, and if we want to go around and introduce ourselves.
You have it up on your screen too?
I don't.
Oh, yeah, I got distracted with our whole
Trying to get members.
quorum there, and get this up. on the computer. There we go. All right. So now everyone can see everyone if you're, except for Jennifer, because you called in, which is okay. But we have you guys up on the TV now, so everyone can see you. That's here in person. All right, so I'll start. Everybody knows me, but Tom Hibbert, the Southwick Health Director and former Shared Service Coordinator.
Sue Braska, Board of Health member.
For
Tricia
Southwick.
Southwick.
Tricia Sudlow, public health nurse.
Kayleen Simons, the new shared service coordinator.
Wayne,
Panico from the town of Russell, Board of Selectmen. We also act as the Board of Health.
I'm Matt Streeter. I'm the town administrator in Granville.
Jennifer Gerard, Town of Blanford, Board of Health.
Great, thank you. And thank you, Sue, for the reminder there. I was being rude. Um, so, I guess we're a little out of order here. Does someone, after me babbling for 10 minutes, does someone want to make a motion to call to order?
oh, okay, I'll make a motion to call the
Call the-
Western Hampden County Public Health District Advisory Board meeting to order. And when did we start? About 10:03, 2:50?
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
2:50 PM on Tuesday, June 11. Second,
All
I'll
in
second.
All right,
all in favor?
Uh,
Do we didn't have to do that, did we?
No.
Did we have to do a second? No,
I think we did.
Yeah,
but-
you need to say.
okay.
Okay, so I already did the financial report and I will turn over nursing report and discussion to Tricia.
Okay, so Mary Ann and I both sent out our reports. Any questions on either report? All right, and I also emailed out a informed participant notice of a new program we're gonna be taking on, the maternal health. That is what we will be using when we go out sometime next year to your residents' homes, and we're gonna ask the Southwick legal team to take a look at this. If you want your own legal departments to take a look at it, that's, your choice. You just let us know if you're okay with us using this in your towns. But again, we'll have Southwick take a look at it. I mean, it's pretty basic. It's just an example that another district is using, and they always have the resident, the mom or whoever, the parent, sign the informed consent. It's a work in progress. We're waiting for more information coming from the state as to if there's certain parameters we're gonna be following, because this is one of the fundamentals, one of the requirements that the nursing section has to do in our contract with the state. So and also part of this is purchasing things, which is on the agenda. So I'm looking to spend about $850, which will be brochures for the parent, an infant CPR mannequin, a baby scale, because we'll be taking weights of the baby, teaching the mom infant CPR, and also providing diapers. And diapers is, as you know, we bought diapers before, that's already an acceptable purchase under the grant, so. And obviously we have the money since we still have $100,000 to spend,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, we're trying to
Spend
get
down.
things now while we have more money and
All right, how do you get the information as to who just had a baby or who needs help? I mean, who decides that?
It's gonna be from the town clerks in the towns, so I reached out to Southwick, Mary Ann reached out to Montgomery. But what we're gonna ask of you too is if you could let your town clerk know who we are, and then we'll be contacting them looking for the information from the birth records that come into their office, so that they know they'll be prepared. So when we, contact them, they already know.
But how long does it take
They say only a couple weeks, so from
at
when.
that time?
I know. If we can see the parent within the first month, that's what this other program has been doing. And you will never see them within the first week. It's
Yeah.
impossible, but as long as we see them within a month, it's still helpful. And a lot of times, as you know, as a new parent, it's like the second or third week, you're alone.
Right,
You know, in the beginning, you might have a lot of help. So maybe towards the end of the month is when you're maybe struggling or have questions or more things come up.
So you would call them, contact them, see if they want
Yeah.
to participate.
And then it's actually a postcard that they would get, and then they would send back that part to us saying, yes, I want to participate, or no, I don't, so. mhm.
Yeah.
All right,
So you're looking for this to be an ongoing thing going forward, right? So we want,
Correct, yes,
okay. I'll have to talk with our town clerk and
okay.
see if she's able to do that. Okay.
Perfect,
great. Yeah, I think having gone through the
yeah,
process not too
Yeah,
long
you-
ago. The one, cause you have your 1 month or your 1 week
Yeah,
appointment
appointment.
where you bring the baby back and to the pediatrician and everything. And then I think the next one was 1 month and then 2 months, 4 months, so I think if, you know,
Yeah,
3
towards
weeks
the
to a
end.
month is kind of that time
Mhm.
where your support from the medical staff is starting to wean a little bit, so that's
Right.
probably the perfect time to get in there.
Yeah, and I think it's a good program.
yeah.
Right,
So you're looking
Okay.
to, for us to give a heads up to the town clerk that you're
Correct,
reaching out to them, or you want
Yes.
me? Oh, okay.
yes.
Yeah.
So in your case, it would be Mary Ann would be the one reaching out, just if you could give her, the town clerk, her name, say that, yeah, it's, you know, it's legitimate. They're doing this new program so that they're aware.
Who's gonna be notified, Granville and?
Yeah,
So
and
Matt,
well, we also,
That's right.
well, we're talking about town clerks, for posting our agendas. I think probably Kayleen or I will reach out to each town clerk, just to see how they want, cause our agendas should be posted in each town. So we'll be, I don't wanna put that burden on all of you guys every month for us to send it to you, and then you have to send it to the clerk, so. So one of us will be reaching out to the clerks on that topic as well, just to, you know, how do you want us to send you the agendas? What's the best email? What's the best way to do this? So.
In
Yeah,
our town, it works a little bit different. The town clerk doesn't post the agendas for any department. They all have to do their own.
okay,
So you would send it to me and I would do our normal.
okay,
We're different.
okay,
Honest to
Yeah.
God, we're different.
yeah, so.
So-
Well, maybe in that case, maybe before we don't have to do it online, but we'll offline, we'll reach out to, you know, Jennifer, Matt, Wayne. Whoever for Montgomery and Tolland and touch base with you guys before we reach out to the clerk, but. Just to, cause you're right, every town is different, so. But just wanted to interject that quick, so back to Tricia.
yep, so, I mean, these are the brochures that we would be looking to have for the moms, so. Postpartum depression. The benefits of breastfeeding. 50 things you can do to keep your baby safe, and lead, of course, so getting those printed would be about $500. The scale and the mannequin are 250, and the diapers, we would spend about $100, so all that totals $850. So we're just looking for,
So you just do
approval.
one scale, one mannequin?
yes, and we share, which is their idea behind shared services, so we can share.
So it's about 850?
Yep, 850 for all
So
that,
should we make a motion or?
yes, please.
Yeah.
I make a motion to spend up to $900
Perfect,
for the postpartum depression program for our nurses, starting in next fiscal year, 2025. Correct?
Yep.
All right, second.
Second.
All right,
Wayne,
All in
second.
favor? Does that have to be a roll call?
I think we have to do a roll call, yeah.
Subraska, yes.
We have to do a roll call?
Granville?
Yeah, roll call.
Yeah. Granville,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Blanford,
Yes,
all right, perfect,
we're done.
all right, so that's it for nursing, so, so next is the work plan and the FY 25 budget, so these are due to the state Friday. So if you recall, last year, it was pretty chaotic process where remember the state turned down everyone's work plans. So they knew they kind of were asking too much, so they did streamline it a lot this year. And they pre-wrote a lot of the objectives for us. So we kind of had I think they actually called it a menu, that we could, choose from which items on the menu that we wanted. So we, the four of us, kind of all looked at it and looked at the ones that either things we were already working on, because we had just met with, the Caitlin Pettengill, the nurse, from DPH, and she had kind of planted the idea about the maternal health program. So, Trisha's wheels had already been spinning on that a little bit, and that was one of the objectives. So we said, well, we're already kind of starting to think about that, so let's put that on there. And then even though Kayleen just started last week, I said, hey, what do you think about working on this? And she took it and ran with it. So, I will turn it over to her. And she can kind of give a brief overview and, let you guys know what our or was it 5 total objectives?
Yeah. 5.
What our 5 objectives were that that we're going with, and the budget as well. And then we'll need a motion and a vote on that, and then we'll turn it in. There could be some minor edits, after the meeting today, but, that won't be anything significant. And we'll turn that into the state before Friday and, send out the final copy to everyone. So the floor is yours.
Right. It's actually 6
Oh,
objectives.
6.
So to start the sustainability objective, we chose to do the inventory management, which is streamlining procurement processes and accurately doing monitoring the purchases that we make for the grant. So this would include developing an SOP and working with that just to kind of streamline the process a bit. And then 3 performance standards. We're going to start with facilitating more trainings for all the staff, disease control and prevention, tobacco use prevention. So more so focusing on excelling the performance standards. And then we chose to do 2 electives. We didn't have to do 2, but I think we've already streamlined this maternal and child health elective. So I think that'll be starting very soon. So that's one of them. And then another is the municipal abandonment funds for the opioid crisis. So we're working on that, kind of getting more trainings involved in that process and using this fund for different opioid crisis interventions. So any questions about those objectives? They are open to activity description changes, inclusions of different things. So, yeah.
There was 6 of them.
6, yeah. So there's 3 performance standards, 1 sustainability, and 2 electives.
Perfect.
Great.
So then the budget. I don't know
Yeah.
how much to say about this right now. I focus more so on the work
Yeah,
plan.
Do we need to vote on the work plan first?
We could vote on them separately or together.
Just,
Together.
Together.
Okay, all right. So, the budget's pretty standard, nothing major. So, as I mentioned earlier, we've had a bit of a shift towards salary, as opposed to the operations, which is great because you can only buy so much stuff. And I think so far, this new model is working out for us. So, so we had a lot of fluff last year in our operations budget. We still have some fluff. But I did make sure things that are contracted, such as the inspection software, the phones, the mileage stipends for the nurses, I did go through and calculate that and, pretty much in it, not pretty much, in every budget category. We have enough for the, you know, anticipated known expenses. Plus, you know, a buffer in there. So I think we'll definitely have plenty. And I think we'll have a better idea of, you know, as the year moves on, we can revise the budget and, moving into next year, I think we'll have a really good idea of how much we need in each category. Whereas there's been a little guesswork to, you know, how much are we gonna spend on this? And, you know, this year we've spent a lot on health communication, so I've tried to put a little more there. But a lot of the brochures that we've got, you know, aren't running out immediately, so we won't need to order more of those.
So the total we have is 300,000.
Yep,
Where does 15% that the town of Southwick gets for all the other,
that
does that come out of the 300,000?
Yep,
Is that in here, the budget?
that's in the budget, yeah,
It is.
yeah.
Which item is that under?
That is agency administrative support. And they actually, it's a good thing. I'm sure the Southwick finance people wouldn't agree, but, I
It's
think,
also like 13%.
I think for the grant, it's a good thing because they said that it's, 15% of expended funds, not of the 300,000. So it cut the amount Southwick gets down by a few $1,000s, but, you know, I thought that was a good thing because it gave us more money in our grant budget, so. So I think that's a good thing for the town, or for the grant as a whole, I think.
So for last year, for this year right now, the amount that we got was what percent?
15, and so it was a clean 15, it was
So do we
45,000.
know whether that really covered everything, our attorneys, our,
There's no way to know. There's no, you know, the work that, you know, accounting does, we haven't done much with the attorneys, and, you know, what none of them are keeping a log of, you know, how much time they spent on, you know, Kayleen's contract and the nurses' contracts and the grant payroll, they're not looking at that, so. There's no way to know if it will cover it, but,
But going
I would've,
forward,
based on the
we won't
number,
use them as much, hopefully. We
Right.
won't have as much turnover,
right,
so then we won't be relying on those services as much. And then with accounting, it should be getting easier, so
right,
then
yeah,
kind of
so,
makes, you know, in the second and third year, it'll be better because we won't be.
hopefully, yeah.
yeah. So,
Okay, increase for the nurses,
yes,
what percent?
so that is, the next line item, but we can combine that as well, so. I, was more last minute than I hoped, but I worked on it the end of last week and I just got it out to the nurses this morning. But I updated their contract since we are now, our grant is a 3-year contract, FY 25 to FY 27 instead of updating year to year. Kayleen is on a 3-year contract. So instead of every year having to come back and, you know, it seems like we just did Trisha's contract. And here we are again, so I think it's a smart move to put them to 3-year contract, so I wrote up a draft. And I sent it to both Marianne and Trisha like 3 hours ago. And I did tell them, I said, if you're not comfortable with it, we can table it till the next meeting, because I did feel bad giving them so little time to review the contract, but the only thing that changed is the salary and the term. So I had done a 3-year contract with a 2% increase each year. And I kind of mocked up what the 3rd year budget would look like. And we'll have to trim a little more fat out of our operations budget, but I think, like even for this year, like I said, there's still a little bit of wiggle room in there. So I don't see that there would be an issue, of not having enough to do everything else, in granting the 2% raise each year.
Come on vacation, does a vacation go up at all?
No, we didn't talk about that, but
Yeah.
no, I'm fine. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm fine where I am.
So they were comfortable with that. I mean, anything is vacation, anything is up to negotiation. We can, I guess we should first do the budget that I was just referencing for FY 25. I did include the 2% raise for the nurses, so. And then we won't be talking about the 26 or 27 budget for another year and 2 years.
The town of Southwick usually gives 2%.
I think
That-
two or three, I think it varies, but I think that's what they do for the union. And sometimes they give less, but
Okay,
but any more, and I think we would be, I would love to give more, personally, but I think then any more, we would be kind of getting into the point where it's like, all right, maybe there's not enough money to do everything that we set out to do, so. So beyond the 3-year contract with DPH, it'll be a whole different landscape at that point. So potentially, if we're looking at another contract from the state, we could request more funding. Or, who knows what the situation will be then, but we'll see, so, but I think that. I guess I'll entertain a motion for the work plan and the FY 25 budget, and then we'll do the nurse contracts. If that makes sense with everyone.
but Tricia and Mary Ann have to both want, like, their contract. before
Yep,
they can
and-
actually
and
vote on the budget.
Tricia, you said you were good with it, and you talked to Mary Ann as well? Okay, so they were both good with it, and there is always the option to revisit contracts. There's no rule that says you can't, so,
All right, so if something came up. and
yeah, so
I
if,
wanted another week vacation. or
yeah, something like that,
Okay, all
you
right,
could,
just making sure.
or if our staffing changed somehow, if one of the nurses left and we had to change, like, you can always modify the contract, and, one of them, because I've been doing a lot more work, I think I deserve more, or
Okay.
whatever, then that's always on the table. There's nothing that says you can't, they can't request it, or we can't entertain it, so, or the board can't entertain it. But despite the fact that I gave them very little time, they both did review it. They're both comfortable with
All right,
it.
and there is a difference in the hourly rate between
Yep.
Tricia and Mary Ann.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, anyone want to make a motion?
I'm a little confused. What are you making a motion on? This is a
the,
discussion, so why would we vote on discussion?
so we have to vote on the work plan and the budget. And then we will vote on the raises for the 3-year contract for the nurses.
We can do three different motions, or just combine the budget and the work plan.
Right,
Okay, so the work
Real-
plan and the FY 25 budget, we're making a motion to accept both the work plan and the proposed FY 25 budget. Is that
yeah,
what we're saying? Okay,
Yeah.
I make that motion.
all right,
I'll second.
all right.
Roll call vote,
Roll call: Southwick,
yes.
Granville,
Yes,
Russell,
Yes,
Blanford.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And the next item would be the IMA, or, sorry, right
No,
ahead.
we're gonna vote on the contracts, right?
Yes.
Versus contract.
Yeah.
The contract, so, well, I think we can vote on, I guess we could vote on a 3-year contract with a 2% increase each year. And then we will do the same e-signing process that we just did with Kayleen, so we'll have to do that for each contract, so, so you'll actually see the contracts then, if there's any issues, we'd have to circle back, but,
Okay, so everything's the same except it's 2%. Your vacation is what, 3 weeks?
Yes.
Yeah.
3 weeks vacation,
yeah,
but everything else is still the same.
Yeah.
yeah, everything's just
And
a,
it- and it goes by the town of Southwick handbook, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
yeah, so it'd be a 3-year term with a 2% increase each year.
Okay, so 6% over 3 years.
All right, so I'll make the motion again to accept the 3-year contract with a 2% raise per year increase. I think I said
And
that
Granville
right.
will second that.
Okay,
And roll call, Southwick,
yes.
Granville,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes,
Blanford.
Yes,
All right, thank you. Okay. So, wow, it looks like we're already pretty close to wrapping up here. So, IMA, I kind of already talked about. Blanford and Granville have signed and I have received the original copies. Montgomery, I talked to the Board of Health Chair, Jacob Chapman, last week. And their Board of Health Secretary, so it will be on their next agenda. And they should be signing it, and, you know, they're okay with it, but they have to vote on it, so, so that should be soon. Russell is signed, and Wayne, did you have the original copy of that signature page?
I personally don't, but I'll check with Nancy tonight. We have a select board meeting, so I'll check with her to find out where it is.
Okay. Okay, and yeah, and if not, I guess you could just do another one, and
Yeah.
that's another thing where I kind of got mixed information. So we kind of said the original ink signature just out of abundance of caution, just to make sure DPH wouldn't have any issues with it, but,
Yeah, because you did DocuSign or Adobe Sign or something, didn't you? With
Yeah.
that?
for the
That's-
contract, they said no for the IMA for that for some reason, so,
Okay,
um.
gotta get with the electronic age.
Yeah, but I mean, I would think ink signature is easier to forge than the e-signing, but but they said no e-signing for the IMA, so.
Okay.
And then, so Southwick, that won't be an issue to get those signed, it'll be Sue and our select board chair. But I was planning to just wait until we had all 5 and they could just go through quick and do them all. Rather than having to go back and forth a bunch of times. And Tolland I haven't heard. I think Mary Ann talked to them a week or 2 ago. But we're gonna follow up this week and see what their status is, because I'm not sure. The member/alternate votes. That is, I kind of mentioned that earlier. So at next Board of Health meeting, just officially appoint your representatives, the primary and the backup, for the Western Hampden County Public Health District Advisory Board. I would assume the 4 of you here would be the primaries for your towns. And then, but if you wanted someone else, or, you know, that's an option too. You know, we can always change things up if you're sick of doing this and you had someone else in mind, but so, that's something that now that the IMA is, you know, pretty much in place, that is part of the IMA, so just have to officially designate those people. And then maybe once your board has voted, if you could just send Kayleen an email. And she can kind of maintain a list of who is the official representatives for each town.
Do
'Cause
all the towns have Kayleen's contact information?
they should at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have it. Also, does Kayleen have all the numbers of everybody that she needs?
Emails of everyone at least,
Yeah.
but,
Emails, phone numbers?
yeah. And I think that will be a project, for you,
Mhm.
because I have like phone numbers in my phone or, in emails, and I have emails on Outlook, but, it probably would be good for us to have,
Director.
a directory. And I guess we would want that to be the official representatives for each town, so.
And their backups.
Yeah, and the official, the primary and the backup, so. So that will be something that we can work on, just so that way it's. Easy to,
And we have everybody on it, the nurses too, and.
yeah, so that will be something that we'll have. In the next
We will be working.
month or two.
Then Kaylee will need. The town clerks, whoever.
Yeah.
to be More
Yeah.
than just.
Yeah, so that, and that, I'm sure that will be a work in progress, but. But we will,
So I had a question. Well, I just sparked a thought as we're talking about primary and alternates, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but each town gets one vote, right?
yep,
In anything that we vote on. So if the primary and the alternate show up, the town only gets
still
one
just
vote.
one vote. Yep,
I want to make that clear in case
Yep.
I have an issue with
yep,
the alternate or
yep,
something. So,
and
yeah.
that's written out in the IMA, and, so there's nothing that says they can't both attend, but, it's one
Just a
vote per
one
town.
town,
So
one vote. Yep.
The backup
Okay.
would only vote if the
Primary is not.
primary wasn't there.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem. Relevant systems, so that is, we got our iPads back. I brought Crystal hers, and, I brought one up to Jennifer as well. So we actually ended up. Didn't really think of it when we first bought the iPads, but we ended up with, like an extra, I gave iPads to the nurses and to Kayleen, so I think we have one extra. But I had kind of done one for each of the 5 towns that were doing the software, and then 2 for the nurses, so I think we got 7. And then we kind of realized that Crystal does 2 towns and I do 2 towns. So I'm not gonna, keep in my office or my car, a Southwick iPad and a Montgomery iPad, and likewise for Crystal, so it's one iPad, and then when we log into the software, we have 2 logins, so, cause the Montgomery and the Southwick data aren't getting mixed together, so I would either log in for Southwick or Montgomery, depending on what inspection I was doing, so, because of that, we ended up with 2 extra iPads, so that worked out. So we have our iPads, and I haven't followed up with Crystal or Jennifer, to see how they made out with installing the software, but the company gave us a whole packet of, how to install the software, contact number if you need help. And they told us just kind of get it installed, let us know if you have any issues, and try to kind of mess around with it a little bit. And then we will, contact to schedule the inspection or to schedule the training. So Jennifer, have you had any luck with, getting that installed yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Okay, so we can, I'll call you offline and we'll sort that out. That's still, a work in progress. I'll check in with Crystal and, we'll keep that train rolling, but I'm pleased with the progress that we've, got all our signatures that we needed to get in and all the information and, we're rolling with it. And I've been, despite not having the training, I've been, using it. I've done some pool inspections, some food inspections, and even a couple housing inspections, and, I really like it. It's good, good software. It's a bit of a learning curve, so that could be just because I haven't had any training on it. But I think once I'm more familiar with it, it'll be even better, but the best part is just after, the work after the inspection is all done, you know, I get back to the office and I just click print and there I have my letter all done. Whereas before that would always be you know, for housing inspection, an hour or two to write everything up. Then it does it all for you. So takes a little longer that could just be because I'm new, but it takes a little longer during the inspection, but it's totally worth it. So purchasing ideas, we talked about the maternal health supplies and the brochures, so we already voted on both of those. And then, we had previously voted on, I haven't done the order yet, the 3 kits for housing, a housing kit and a food kit, for, you know, for us to share, kind of 2 towns per kit. And, so I talked to Crystal a little bit. I got some recommendations from another group. And I don't have the final price. But we did already vote on the kits. But there was a couple items that I wanted to suggest of just getting one of for the whole group, because like one of the things that it was from the Berkshire Public Health Commission, and they have like a lot of towns in the group, and they do a lot of training for the individual towns and have you know, like a whole set of training kits, and they have way more equipment than I would ever think we needed for a housing inspection. You know, there's some stuff on here that I'm like, in 8 years I've never had a need for testing this or whatever, but one of the things was a sound meter. Could be something we need. There was once or twice in Westfield where there was one in town that I think we borrowed that could have been helpful. And I think that's a few $100s. But that's not something that you need in a routine inspection. If you're getting, you get a very specific sound complaint where you can probably plan, you know, I think I'm gonna need this. So that would be something where we could get one and share it for the 6 towns. Another one was an infrared camera. That is not something I've ever been able to use for an inspection, but it would be very helpful. Anytime you get a complaint, but they recommend it for food too. I guess if someone was having refrigeration issues, it could help, but anytime you get a complaint for like moisture problem, you know, we have the probe to test the moisture content, but the camera, the thermal camera is very helpful for identifying where the moisture is, because the temperature of any saturated materials will be different than the dry materials, because it will conduct more heat. So it'll be, if it's cold, it'll be colder, or hot, it'll be hotter. So but once again, that's something that, you know, you go out and do a housing inspection and you're like, you know, a lot of times there's a moisture problem. It's like, oh, well, there's the leak. You don't need to do that deeper investigation. So I think that's another one. And those range from like $600 to, you know, $2,000. I don't think our needs are the $2,000 one. but that, I think that's something that would be helpful to have, one of for the whole group of us and, maybe we'd use it once a year. But then at least if any of our 6 towns is like, oh, where am I gonna get one of those? That'd be really helpful right now. We'd have it. So I think those were the 2 kind of bigger items that,
What do we have for
The-
lead testing? Can we do
lead
that?
testing, you get, the equipment is free from the
It's free.
from the
okay.
state, the sodium sulfide you get from the lead program. Jennifer, you do your food inspections, right?
Yes,
Do you ever, cause one of the other things they had is a pH meter. And we have like a really cheap one that we could use for pools, but they also suggest it for food. I've never really had a need for a pH meter and a food inspection. Would you agree?
yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. I think
Not
I
for
mentioned
what
that to
we
Kristen
have.
too. Because I also, everyone I've seen, you need to get like distilled water to rinse it and it's, I think kind of more maintenance than we would want to be, doing for something that we're never gonna use, so. But if that ever changes and that any of the towns, we can always, if you're like, oh, even if we don't have it in, that we have already.
What would you use it for?
You could use it for pools, for the pH, but you have the droppers, so that's a color matching test. So we have that kit already for the pools.
What would you use it for?
For food, the main thing would be sushi. Or if someone was doing like, pickled things, you test the pH. But
We don't
I've
have any
never-
down.
yeah, and they, like if the sushi, they acidify their rice instead of refrigerating it, so they have a variance for that. And a HACCP plan, and they have the equipment to test the pH. So. If you're doing that inspection and something needs to be tested, they should have the means to test it. And when you're inspecting, you can say, can you show me how you test the pH? I guess if there was some other case, but I don't see myself using it, so I won't suggest that, so.
So if you say you look into this, you're gonna get this, it's gonna go under the budget from this year.
Yeah.
So can we carry over until a bill is paid, or how's that gonna work?
Yeah, if it's ordered and we haven't received it before the end of the year, we can pay it. Cause it's not August. Until we send our final report and have to start the process of sending the money back to the state, so.
Okay.
So if a bill comes, something we've already ordered this year and
PO
Why don't you
for it.
put
yeah,
PO
the
on that?
PO,
Okay.
and there's a process with accounting,
Okay.
but that's good with accounting and good with the
Alright.
grant to do that, so. We just have to make sure we do it properly.
Is there any, do you know the cost of like one of those air quality meters? You know, how they had that grant, but
Yeah.
it's only for a certain demographic.
Right,
What would the cost of, any thoughts?
I don't know, we could look into
Something,
that,
maybe we could buy 3 of them.
Right.
And share them,
right,
which is, 1 year you keep it here, or 6 months, or whatever.
right,
Maybe something to monitor the air quality of the towns,
right.
we share them amongst.
So what does it monitor for air quality?
I don't know.
I think it just monitors like the, particulate level,
Check it out.
yeah.
I
can't
saw a
remember.
grant that you could apply for, but it was really for like racially ethnic areas. I don't know, we could try it and apply,
Yeah,
and then we would get one for each town. And I thought when we talked about it, we said maybe we would apply, maybe Kayleen would be filling out the paperwork, but, I don't know if we would get it.
yeah,
But we were thinking, if no one else applies and they're like, well, we got these to give out, maybe we would get them. But
Right.
if we have all this money and we can buy them, it might
Yeah.
be something to.
yeah,
Is there anything on the list there?
not
Sure, that
on
would
this
be
list.
okay,
no.
because I mean, it comes to chronic disease,
Mhm.
you're talking asthma, COPD, air
Yeah.
quality, allergies. I'm sure we could get it,
I think Springfield just got that.
yeah.
Yeah,
So why not, right?
all right. You
Um,
don't have much time yet. Was it 3 weeks for the end of the year?
yeah,
We got
yeah.
to
Okay.
move quickly on
Yeah.
that, but
Quickly.
So,
Do we have to vote on this or no? Cause you buy other supplies and we don't have to vote on it.
yeah, I honestly don't know what. Cause her, if we buy standard office supplies and things like that, I don't bring it to the board.
And they want us to spend the money. Like,
Right.
When we were
Right.
saying to the coordinator how much money we were sending back, she was like, try to spend it.
Yeah.
Like, that was her.
Right.
Okay, so,
so yeah,
so just look into it and whatever it is, right?
yeah,
Let's,
I'll look into
Wayne
this
and
tomorrow.
Jennifer and Matt think we need to vote on it.
I
yeah,
think if you think you have a need for it and we have the money for it, I would say do it.
okay,
Just,
all right,
that's my feeling,
okay. Sounds good.
Matt's from Granville. Do we have like a, say, just a carte blanche that says that, if it's something that's up to a certain amount, or just that we're under budget, that we should be able to spend those funds without having to come back for a vote? Those type of things. I have
We
no
have-
trouble with that if that's the general
Right.
consensus of the group, or the group conscience, basically. So,
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't know what the standard is for that. I mean, we can reach out to the state and see if they have any guidance, and I think I've asked a similar question before, and I often get, well, every group does things differently.
Well, I think if you came back and you said, it's going to cost us $20,000 to get this piece of equipment or something, then I would say, yeah, you may want to bring it back to the board. But
Yeah.
seeing as we have trouble getting the board together, and we only have a certain amount of time to spend the money, right? We have until, what do you say, the end of June, right?
End of the month, yeah.
Yeah, I would say if it's reasonable and, use your best judgment being reasonable. If you think you're going to be able to use it, do it.
Okay, yeah.
Just drop an email saying, hey, we're getting this, and off you go. I wouldn't
Okay.
spend a ton of time. That's my
Agree.
opinion. Obviously, there's other board
I
members,
agree
but
with you.
Okay, yeah,
Think we can use it, do it.
yeah. So yeah, we'll do that for the remainder of this year, and then in the meantime, maybe we'll try and get a, cause like, kind of like Matt said, I think that would be a good idea to know exactly where that line is. Whether it's, if we're buying a piece of equipment that's, more than $1,000, we should bring it to the board. Maybe there's a law or a rule on that from the state, or maybe it's something that the board can vote on and say, if you're buying any standard basic equipment, and it's under this amount, just do it.
Yeah.
As long as it's, cause DPH does give us a list of, everything that is approved for the grant. So the board could just pass make a vote to say, if it's approved by the grant and under this amount, just do it. If it's over this amount, we want to talk about it. So,
Trisha just had a good point. That's the first sustainability objective, the
Oh.
inventory management. So
Oh.
we'll be doing that.
perfect. So even better. So it's part of our work plan for next year. So that's good. So, but that's good to know. So if we come up with anything we think is a great idea, as long as it's approved by the state and isn't going to be
Do it.
crazy, we'll do that, and then we'll go from there. And so I think so those were the two other inspection things I was purchasing on, and then I'll finish adding everything that I was gonna get for those food and housing inspection kind of go bags. And then if we think of anything else, we'll go for it. And do you have a copy of the agenda? My laptop just died. That's
No,
where
but I have it right here.
Okay, I just want to make sure I don't miss anything else.
next thing is new business.
Okay, new business. I don't have it. Does anyone have anything for new business? No?
No, other than what, postpartum thing that was.
Yeah,
missed.
yeah. And then, so our next meeting, would be, we're sticking with our monthly schedule, would be second Tuesday would be July 9th at 2:30, Tuesday, July 9th. do we wanna stick with that? Or maybe push to August or September, I know it's the week after the 4th, so, but. I mean, we will be dealing with vacations, or we can also schedule it offline, and do it that way.
Colleen, when will you think you'll be ready to take over? Next month or the following month?
Probably the following month. Also, on the work plan, I did say we had talked to Ileana about it being every 2 months.
Okay.
So.
Yeah,
So that could be August.
Yeah.
Cause we're in June, maybe, you know.
That I would feel.
We'll try
Okay.
August if not.
Yeah.
People are on vacation.
yeah,
Yeah.
so if, of the 4 of you here, are you comfortable with, we'll stick with second Tuesday for now, so we'll say August 13th.
Okay,
And if,
Well, something comes up.
we'll send something out. Probably, maybe Kayleen, if you wanna send something out this week.
Yeah.
And just
Hold it.
have everyone put it in their calendars, and then if it doesn't work for people, we can always
When are you
figure
going?
something out, so.
July.
You're in July.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so next meeting would be August 13th at 2:30. And I think that is everything. And
Make
let's,
a motion to adjourn.
all right,
Second.
Second.
Okay, second.
okay, Southwick,
Oh, yes.
Granville,
Yes.
Russell,
At 3:48 PM.
oh, it looks like you're talking, but you're still muted, Wayne.
There we go. I kept clicking it. It wasn't going up.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
And Blanford,
yes.
all right. Thank you all for attending, and we will see you in a couple months, and I'm sure, Kayleen and I will see, or at least talk to you guys sooner than that individually. All right, have a good one.
Yeah.
Have a nice summer.
Yeah.